Okay, greetings international family and welcome to Sickle Cell Causes Week 3 installment on the AGA Global Ambassadors in association with Gambia's Old Jeshwang Health Centre's World Health Month for 2020. As always, we praise and raise up our ancestors for their guidance, for taking us forward and continuing to doing so. And we also express our continued gratitude to Sister Angela Rose and all persons involved with the works of this important annual health event. All right, this week, Sickle Cell Cause will be speaking on the subjects of the operations of the red blood cell, and I shall also be sharing some nutritional facts about nutrition for the sickle cell warrior. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Samantha Greaves. I'm your warrior queen from Sickle Cell Cause. I'm the founder and the group coordinator, and I'm joined today by our group chairperson and also our family welfare manager, Basu Leanne Palmer, who shall introduce now to please, take the stand. Thank you, Leanne.
Well, greetings all. Greetings, hope all are well. I'm just going to give you a few minutes on blood and touch on iron. So as sickle cell is all to do with the blood, blood is a major topic of discussion and a very important one to understand. So what is blood? Blood is the body's fluid of humans and animals that carries life to the cells. Life is electric, life is water, life is oxygen, and life is all necessary substances such as nutrients. Efficient blood circulation is therefore most paramount, as the blood is what circulates all of these things around the body and transports metabolic waste products away from the cells. Blood is made up of 4 components, including the red blood cell, white blood cells, platelets, and plasma. So plasma is the liquid part. It's made up of predominantly water, salts, and protein, and that makes up over half of the blood's volume, which is a very important thing to note because water, even the land mass, is predominantly made up of water. The body itself is predominantly made up of water. So it's no surprise that the blood cell has a large component made up of water. You have the platelets, which is a small colorless disc shaped. It's a cell fragment. It doesn't have a nucleus, and the role in the blood is to coagulate and wound healing. So put simply, it helps to clog, to help heal wounds. And then we have the white blood cell, which is part of the body's immune system, helping the body to fight infection and disease. And then lastly, the red blood cell, which we're going to go in a bit more depth about. And that makes up to more than 40% of the blood mass. And its principal means is delivering oxygen to the body's tissue. All right, so what's the red blood cell predominantly made up of? Is hemoglobin. And hemoglobin is an iron-rich protein that carries oxygen from the lungs and transports it throughout the body. If you don't have enough iron in the body, you cannot make healthy oxygen-carrying blood cells. A low level of hemoglobin is the sign of anemia, and a lack of red blood cells is the cause of iron deficiency. So it all ties in together. An important question now is to ask, the answer to this question is important. Where is the blood cell produced? The blood cell is produced in the villi of the small intestine. So that is the hairs in the stomach. Healthy villi produces 3 to 6 million red blood cells per second, and the minimum threshold is 3.5 million red blood cells in the bloodstream. Anything below the threshold will then affect the body's bones. And this is very important because we are generally taught that blood is produced in the bone marrow. All bones produce blood in infancy, but once dried and matured, only moist bones, such as the spinal column, can produce or even should produce blood cells. So bones can do one of two things. One, it can revert back into blood, and when it's doing that, it's actually operating at a state of deficiency. Or two, it can produce electricity. And when the bones are producing electricity, it's operating at a state of optimum. So the bone's purpose is to produce electricity and keep the body electrified, not to produce blood. So the next important question is to ask, how is the red blood cell produced? And just before I go into that, blood produced from the bone marrow presents a state of deterioration, sickness, and death. The bone liquefies and differentiates back into blood as a survival mechanism, a process in which the bone marrow reverts back into blood to prevent death. For each minute that the bone is used to produce blood, one's lifespan is being significantly reduced. So once the bone is no longer able to differentiate, the body organs are then put under pressure. So how is the blood produced? The villi combines two major things. It combines fresh, clean water with Monera to create blood. Monera is the bacteria derived from healthy foods. So quite simply put, the villi, the hairs in its small intestine, needs clean, pure water and healthy foods to create red blood cells. So before I hand over, I'm just going to quickly touch on the environment that is needed to produce healthy red blood cells. So the villi needs an acidic environment in the small intestine, because minerals can only be extracted in the small intestine when below 7 on the pH scale. An over-alkaline small intestine prevents mineral assimilation and digestion. Nutrients are not absorbed, good bacteria dies, and the Monera and metabolized iron is not produced, which ruins the villi's ability to produce blood. So I know Sam's going to go into nutrition facts now, but I will just mention that vitamin C is a very good way to help assimilate iron into the blood. And just a few things such as baobab, beetroot, spinach are good sources of iron. And always, 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 you should always be taking in enough water.
Wow, thanks for that, Leanne. I'm quite surprised at some of the information. I mean, most of it I knew, but about in the gut, you know, that was new information for me. But it does make sense. You know, I do know that you're a yoga basu, so you know about breathing and meditation also. And I know that at one point you had mentioned to us in one of our classes about breathing from the diaphragm with relation to blood. Can you explain a bit about that?
Well, really, most of us really breathe shallow. We're breathing from the chest, from the lungs, rather than taking a deep breath through the nose, through the diaphragm. So that's where you really get the optimum breath and really help to oxygenate the blood cells.
So give us an example.
So I think it just ties in, sorry?
Give us an example, how to breathe.
Okay, so if you just sit comfortably with your feet flat on the ground, you can place your hands on your knees comfortably, relaxing the shoulders, closing your eyes if you like. And really you just want to focus on the breath. Just take a few breaths at your normal rate, normal pace. And then focus on inhaling through the nose. So if you can inhale through the nose for up to 6 seconds, nice and deeply, expanding the stomach as you're drawing in that breath, and then hold. Just hold the breath for a few seconds, and then gently exhale through the nostrils as you pull the abdomen in, really pulling the navel towards your spine, expelling all the air possible. Again, inhaling through the nose, expanding the stomach. Nice and deep, holding the breath, relaxing the shoulders, and exhale, pulling the abdomen in.
Thank you.
And just doing that kind of breathing technique for maybe a minute, build it up to 5 minutes, but every morning, first thing, focus on taking in some deep breaths. And I just think that it's, you know, it kind of complements what I've explained about this, the blood being created in the villi hairs of the intestine. A lot is happening in that area that we're just oblivious to. So the breathing, there's no coincidence that when you breathe through the diaphragm, you're actually helping to oxygenate the blood cells in the process of them being created.
Okay.
Especially if you're taking in the nutrition and the right amount of water.
Okay, and that leads us on to my little bit about nutrition. We will have to cut it a bit short today because of time allowances, but we do workshops, as you know. So everybody that requires it or requests a link to our workshops, will ensure that you get a link so you can have more detailed information about yoga, breathing, nutrition, and all the other workshops that we do also. So you just hold on a second, I'll just bring up my screen because I'd like to share the screen. Okay, I'm back, and I'd like to start off by introducing Frida Gacy. Now, most of our nutritional information is shared by our official group advisor, Ms. Frida Gacy, who is also a sickle cell warrior, a raw food chef, and an author. And the advice and recipes that she has is in her book, You Can Create Your Own Health Naturally. You know, so we do use her book as a reference, you know, for information, recipes, and so forth to generally help us with our health, right? So we will try and ensure that the sickle cell cause Gambian family receive a book, you know, hopefully by February 2021. That'll be the next time, hopefully when AGA goes out with the next container. You know, hopefully we'll have it. And we do look forward to trying to get a few copies in the Edward Francis Teaching Hospital also. Right, so moving on. Let your food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thine food. You know, that was a famous quote, widely recognized by the ancient Greek teacher Hippocrates. You know, although we, the original people, know throughout our motherland and in the diaspora that the teacher of Hippocrates was our ancient ancestor and father of all medicine, King Imhotep, who I've got on the screen now. Now, he taught this world so much on nutrition, and we advise you to research information that he left, you know, for us. You know, information is still out there, and you can get this information through people like Frida, you know, this nutritional information, who was a student of another one of our great kings, you know, who joined our ancestral realm, Dr. Sebi, you know, and also in the Gambia. Now we also have Mama Nisira and Dr. Joe Bledsoe. You know, they, you know, came home to the motherland from California a few years ago, and they run a very successful clinic teaching about food, nutrition, raw food. You know, they even have recipes there. So their quote, eat to live, don't live to eat. You know, so please check them out if you get the chance. They're actually in the Gambia on the ground, and they're there to help, you know, our Gambian family when it comes to health and nutrition, right? So as I said, eat to live, don't live to eat. Now, eating raw foods mean that we are eating living food. Cooked food lose their nutritional content, and meats as well, as we know, are dead bodies. you know, so we cannot really get life from death. So therefore, we at Sickle Cell Cause always promote a vegetarian diet for the benefits of living well with sickle cell. We also host many workshops in the UK, and that can range from yoga, tai chi, massage therapy, arts and crafts, beading and jewelry making. You know, but today I'm going to share some information about easy, everyday nutrition, you know, with the foods that you can find easily on the ground in the Gambia. But always to start with, we always promote that you start with a detox. To detox means to remove the buildup. So we must remove the stored buildup of waste foods, you know, and prescription medicines and sugars and starches from our system, because by them staying in our system, they're poisoning us from the inside. By cleaning regularly, we allow the nutrients from our food to access our gut and our cells and our bloodstream a lot quicker, you know. When you don't clean out your system, everything you eat sits on top of a pile inside your stomach, and it can rot, and it does rot, you know, before it has time to flow through you freely. So even your medications won't work as effectively if you don't detox regularly, because they don't have time to work their way through a lot of all the storage before they have the desired effect. And we may end up even using more medications than we should do, because we're not feeling the effects of the medications in time. So we take more, you know, than, you know, because that can lead to, you know, over usage of medications, you know. So we do say detox regularly, you know. After each detox, we do advise you eat beetroot. Leanne mentioned beetroot earlier, but beetroot is not only is it great for iron, you know, building up your system, um, but it's also a great indicator of how free your system is. We should use the bathroom, say about 15 to 20 minutes after eating. So after every meal, we should go to the bathroom, you know, about 20 minutes later. And beetroot will show up in our stool, you know. So you will know if your system is clear, or how, you know, how clear it is by the amount of time it takes for you to see the beetroot, you know, come through you, you know. If it takes long to come through, you know, like a day or so, you know your system is not clear enough and you need to detox more. Also, drink water regularly. Whether you feel thirsty or not, drink a glass of water first thing in the morning and last thing at night, and at least 2 to 3 liters throughout the day. You know. Now, finally, for this last installment, we'll talk about the benefits of food, you know, and give you some indications of which foods to eat, you know, for health of the sickle cell warrior. We should do that in the next video coming up. So for now, I'd like to say thank you for your time, you know, and we'll see you on the side on the next video.